I'm a rare book collector. Let's talk ephemera. So on this channel, we've spoken a lot about old books, but what about ephemera? Ephemera is basically just any paper product that was meant to be used and then discarded. So think newspapers or concert tickets. I want to tell you a story about how the New York Times published the Pentagon Papers and started the country on a path to ending the war in Vietnam using ephemera. First piece of ephemera is this 1971 opinion by the Supreme Court. The newspapers had ended up at the Supreme Court because the government sought and in one respect achieved a order prohibiting the Times and the Washington Post from publishing the Pentagon Papers. And so they had to take the case all the way to the Supreme Court. Eventually, they got the Supreme Court to agree with them that they had a First Amendment right to publish the Pentagon Papers. This is an original newspaper from the day after that Supreme Court opinion. And it not only continues the publication of the Pentagon Papers, since they were no longer prevented from doing so, it also covers that court ruling I just mentioned. And in one part, it notes, by a vote of 6-3, the court held that any attempt by the government to block news articles prior to publication bears a heavy burden of presumption against its constitutionality. Finally, we have this pamphlet, yet another piece of ephemera related to the Pentagon Papers case. And I really like this pamphlet. It was meant to raise awareness for the defense of the leakers of the Pentagon Papers case. Not the newspapers, but the actual individuals who had leaked the papers to the newspapers themselves. And it has statements from the government or from government officials, and then it also has statements from the defendant juxtaposed against each other. And on the front here, it's one from Robert McNamara, the former Secretary of Defense, and he's quoted saying, "You know, they could hang people for what's in here," meaning the Pentagon Papers. And then towards the end, you have statements from Ellsberg and from his co-defendant. And Ellsberg is quoted saying, "In releasing the Pentagon Papers, I acted in hope I still hold that truths that changed me could help Americans free themselves and other victims from our longest war." And then his co-defendant, Tony Russo, saying, "If we are conspirators, then the United States Constitution is dead. If we are spies, then the American people are the enemy. If we are thieves, then the government, not the people, owns history."